Hi, beautiful soul. Thank you for joining me, Mystic Miya, here on Mostly in the Moment for a different, unique, interesting tarot reading. This is going to be about TikTok. It's a topic of interest right now. I'm very interested in it. There's a lot going on around this energy, so I want to look into it. I have 11 questions I've written out. They're in the description box below in the form of timestamps if you want to just look into the questions you're interested in, or if you want to follow along, I'm going to be numbering as I go. All right, so let's start with the first energy, which is the energy of TikTok now. What is the energy of TikTok now? Okay, it can go either way. So we all know that technology is a tool, and the tool is something you can use for a positive force or a negative force, a harmful or dark, right? So at this point, it's kind of like depends. It depends on which way we would like to go. So we're kind of at a really interesting point in human history. In the spiritual community, we call it the 3D and 5D shift, which is those who want to evolve consciously to a higher state of being and a higher state of living, and those who want to stay in kind of the vibe that it's in now, which isn't always positive, which is kind of keeping us capped from growing further. Wow. So yeah, this is a time of a lot of hope, a lot of strength. It's the end of the Iron Age, which is a very difficult time. It culminates to a lot of problems, issues, and the dark forces kind of overrunning our planet, our home, to kind of get us riled up and saying enough is enough, and kind of shaking free of that, sending in a lot of light workers, a lot of star seeds, a lot of high intentioned, high frequency folks onto the planet, reincarnate onto the planet in order to move us into the next stage of our evolution, which is what we're feeling now. I got the Leo Aquarius kind of energy going here with the Strength card and the Star card. Kind of moving from that like more self-focused, egotistical, monkey mind, survivalist thinking to more of like a harmonious, humanitarian, love and light type of energy. So we kind of see that dichotomy here. And that is exactly where TikTok stands right now. It could go this way or that way. That's why there's a lot of confusion amongst the collective of like, which is it? Is it good or is it bad? Is it both? What's up? And that's what we're going to look into today. So if that's where we are now, what was the energy of TikTok in the past? Sleeping on it. All right, so this technology, this software, this program, it had a lot of potential, but it was waiting for its growth. So this was always going to be a huge player in the game. It just had to reach its critical point in order to be the most effective in the change for humanity. So it was kind of just like sleeping and letting itself grow. So that's the kind of energy I got from TikTok in the past. Yeah. Looking to the future. Okay. I was going to see if it was negative or positive, but then again, it's still kind of at a neutral point now. But in the past, it was just kind of allowing the energy of TikTok to kind of grow. All right, so what about in the near future? Queen of Wands. So we have the King of Wands here and then the Queen of Wands. It is going to be a huge leading force in terms of the next best thing for humanity. I do see that. Whatever humanity collectively decides is best for us at this time, that is what this tool, TikTok, will be used for in the near future. So that's great. That's fantastic. Good to hear. How it will happen, what's this vision that we're all collectively wanting to pull towards? That is yet to be seen, and that is the confusion, and that's where the kind of disagreements, a little bit of chaos, confusion energy lies. But I am getting that it will be a force for positivity. 5 of Swords in hand. It's a headache, though. It's given headache. Why? Unsettled times, need to plan ahead. All right, so I definitely feel like the collective will push TikTok in a way that benefits all, or benefits, most of the collective, those that want to be a force for good, be a force for the light. But I feel like there's a little bit of a disagreement of how that will come to be. Like, what is the best way to serve humanity? That's where the confusion is, and how to use TikTok as a tool in the best way. But that's only in the near future. So I'm going to pull a quick card for the more, not far future, but more into the future. Yeah, I do see with the Queen of Wands here and the High Priestess in reverse. I do feel like there is going to be, a mass exodus I'm hearing, but not in a scary way. I hear that like the people who are very good intention, have high intentions for a tool like TikTok will be moving into a different platform. So I do see that there is going to be another similar kind of platform that is created, stepping into a new experience. Yeah. So that won't be an issue, because I do feel like those that are on the next, already in the next level, already in 5D or going to be very soon, will see that TikTok is moving in a positive direction, but like there's going to be a sort of internal conflict of like the best way to use TikTok. And because TikTok started in kind of a 3D base from a 3D energy and has evolved, I feel like those that are in 5D already that are very like high vibe will kind of, let TikTok be what it is, because people are using it for a positive force, maybe not in the highest light and love way that the 5D folks want to use it. And then, so they'll like be like, hey, if people want to use it in this positive way that works for where they are at their level, let them do it. We're going to, move over to another platform. Let them have it. They're using it for a positive force. Let it be what it was created to be kind of a little bit more superficial, a little bit more relatable to the mass population. That's fine. They're using it in positive ways. We'll just go into this other form. Okay. Other platform that's kind of like TikTok, but will attract a lot of folks already in the 5D. And because the 3D 5D shift is happening, there's going to be more of us in the 5D that want to connect. And it won't be just like that like bad spiritual dating website that there's only like a handful of people in. It's going to be a lot of us, because we're going to connect to each other. A light worker network, I'm getting a light worker grid that's going to connect us in a lot of different ways, not just in a TikTok similar kind of platform. It's going to be in a lot of different ways, and there's going to be a lot of us connecting, so don't worry about that. All right, so the next question. Spying from Chinese government. Is there spying from a Chinese government, and if so, how harmful is it that potential? Okay, spying from the Chinese government. Yes, that's actually why it was initially created. Interesting. Okay. And it was very successful. So they did it. It's already been done. They already got the information that they wanted to get. It was a very successful tactic, and it was pulled off magnificently, better than they could have hoped. Okay, interesting. You know, is how harmful is its potential now? Well, it can be used in a lot of different ways. But it's not going to be used in all the ways that it could be used. I do see that as we go into the future, the way that we are able to use the data that is collected from people will be they'll find more and more ways to use that data, you know, positive ways, negative ways, selling point, you know, neutral ways. You know, it's a huge market, and it's only going to start, you know, grow. So there's going to be more ways to use this data that was collected from long ago in different ways. But right now, it's only been used for certain ways that has been very successful for whoever is pulling the strings at the top. They're celebrating, so huge payoff for them. Keep your life in balance, and it kind of fell on the current energies. So it's kind of like, you know, you can use this information for positive ways too, but you know, let's face it, how many people nowadays at the top of companies are going to use data collection for positive reasons? Maybe positive reasons to sell something, but positive reasons just for the sake of helping out humanity? Not many, but there are some, not to deny. Financial gain, usually coming from something you did in the past, yeah. And they are going to continue to be able to profit off of the data that they've collected. So I feel like into the near future, into the far future, like the data that TikTok has collected will continue to make them profit, because they'll find new ways to use that data in the future. But it looks like it's more of a profit-based intention rather than anything malefic or even benefic. It's more kind of a neutral, just making money kind of deal. All right. So has it become 5D technology? There's been a lot of talk about like TikTok is now a 5D technology, and that's why they can't get rid of it. Let's look into that. Has TikTok become a 5D energy? Yes, it is. It is becoming 5D technology, which is also why the intentions behind the creation of TikTok, and even those who are still involved at the higher levels of the TikTok company and companies involved with TikTok, has shifted to be used for more positive or more, at least more neutral kind of intentions. But yes, it is moving into a 5D technology. I'm getting the feeling of shuffling. Okay. Wow. The Fool card and the Judgment and the Temperance. So you can see kind of like, I'm getting this like man and angel, like a human and divine angelic being kind of combining, merging into one, which I feel is kind of like the collective going into their 5D, into their higher self, merging with their higher self. So it has been a really huge helping hand in the collective awakening I'm getting. So it really has helped humanity evolve, which is funny. Yeah. Okay. Kind of overcoming duality thinking from a higher perspective. It definitely has really help people connect with themselves, their divine aspect, which is amazing. And see things even in the physical world in more divine ways, which has been great. Was this always the intention of TikTok? No. No. But as humanity does, they kind of take what is given to them and kind of use it for the purposes that they wish. So you can see kind of this kind of collective intention of wanting to be in a better world, kind of that being projected onto TikTok and being used more in that way than not. Yeah, because there is a lot of dark stuff on there too, but it's kind of like, I think I'm getting this like feeling that the intention was that they're gonna see that most people are dark intention. I'm getting like the Joker from The Dark Knight. I'm getting that like they want the two cruise ships, one with the folks from prison and the one that are on a recreational cruise ship, and they were both given the trigger, the switch for a bomb that would blow up the other cruise ship, and all of them have to kind of discuss, and only one ship will survive, and they each had to kind of like decide if they should blow up the other ship or not, and why, whatever. And so it's kind of like the Joker test, but it's kind of like that test for humanity of, I feel like a lot of people who have dark intentions or not the best intentions, maybe more of, people at the higher end of the companies who are more narcissistic, who are more, have psychopathic and sociopathic tendencies, or are straight up sociopaths, psychopaths, want to prove that, humanity does suck and they do have dark intentions, and that you're going to be able to see it with this data, and then realizing that a lot of us actually use it to watch really positive content, helpful content. Oh, I was like, what is that noise I keep hearing? It's icicles falling at my window because the sun is so strong today. Interesting. Okay. All right. Yeah. So yeah, it proving contrary to that belief of a very small group of people who believe, humanity at its core is always going to be dark, and they're going to follow their shadow, and prove the opposite. Okay, let's wrap up this question with, has TikTok become a 5D technology? How, why, what's the purpose? Okay, so how or why. The moon card, interesting, it's right below this moon card. So it's kind of really allowed people to go within, and I'm getting, how the TikTok algorithm kind of picks up on the videos that you watch and interact with the most and kind of recommend more of those videos. Kind of being like, even surprising the user with the kind of content that they're interested in, and help people to kind of discover more of themselves, find more deeper aspects of themselves. So in a way, TikTok kind of help people discover more of who they are unintentionally in good ways. And even like the shadow aspect, disappointment in some affair, if they found that they were looking at things that made them feel sad, or make them feel low, they kind of knew what they needed to cut out. It made it really obvious what was not healthy for them, so they can cut it out. I've seen it in forms of relationships, in terms of unhealthy habits, and paying attention to drama or more superficial things that kind of took them away from their happiness. And so it made people more aware, not just of the positive things and the deeper aspects of themselves, but even the negative things that they want to work on and cut out. And finger, warning you of a problem. Yeah, either now or in the future. It made people aware of things, because they found that a lot of other people were kind of going through similar feelings or going through a similar issue, and allowed them to kind of find solutions faster than they would have if they weren't connected to so many people. So, if this was going to be initially created for negative purpose, or more it was more malintentioned, like it kind of proved the opposite. All right, so the sixth question here is, was it a show of control over the population by taking it away and then giving back what the folks wanted so people are dependent on it? Was it a show of control and kind of getting the collective hooked on it, dependent on not just TikTok, but those who allowed it and took it away and gave it back, dependent on certain people or powers? No, I'm not getting that. I'm getting that it was like a force of good, like it was a force of collective will and intention that brought it back. Again, it's the collective that has the most influence over TikTok right now. The energy of TikTok is its users, is the people that it affects the most. And the people on there using it, most of them have a really high level positive intention with it. And at this point, because TikTok has been around for a little while now, it has grown to encapsulate the energy of its users, and it's pretty much tied in with those users, with those folks. So it's kind of hard to separate that. And so if folks wanted it and wanted it back, it was going to come back. It's been a force of abundance. And we can see that because a lot of people have businesses on TikTok. And so if it didn't come back one way, it would have came back another way. But it was definitely going to come back no matter what, because it's not being dependent on other people who can give you this luxury of life and take it away. It wasn't theirs to control. The people are gaining momentum in their power, their awareness of how much power that they have. It was never theirs to control. It's the people's. It's the user's control. Under the user's control now. Energetically, so heavy. No one can touch it. Even if other people try to, governments or leaders or whatever, try to change that, it's in the hands of the users now. And you're gonna see it like in the near future. I'm getting later this year. If people try to mess with it or do this or do that, you're gonna see that it's the energies. It's for the users. It's the user's energy now. No one else can mess with it because it's no longer theirs. It's the people's. Yeah. It was going to come back soon anyway, no matter what. In fact, it's kind of ushering in more of this time of abundance for humanity. So, yeah, it's like humanity already chose to be, healthier, more helpful, caring towards others, choosing to live a more abundant life, and whatever that means for you, being able to do more self-sustaining activities, being able to make your own things, live more organically, live more healthy, live within your own means, but doesn't mean limiting your happiness. In fact, it expands your love. So people are kind of waking up. And TikTok is only it's only expanding upon the energy that people already have and already are in, awakening to and growing. So it's only expanding what's already there. All right, so the next question. Was all the drama around TikTok because of the powers at work couldn't control the amount of truth coming out? So was all that drama around TikTok in the recent past and even up to now, was it because that people that were in the powers that were trying to couldn't control the amount of truth coming out? Seven of Wands, 7 card. Yep. Very much so. The people who thought they were at the top controlling all this is no longer there. It's the people's TikTok. And people want the truth. People have always wanted the truth. And the floodgates opened. This just allowed a lot of people to know what's actually going on in different countries, what's going on in their own country, in their own, areas and neighborhoods around them that is not being reported. They're finding out truths about certain industries or foods or medicines and histories that was not accessible to them before because a lot of people were trying to control the truth. The floodgates have opened and people want the truth. People crave the truth. And so it's only natural that if you kind of open the gate just a little bit, people are going to come flooding through because people have been starving for the truth. A lot of people are now aware and are going to become more aware with this Great Awakening happening that you've been starved for the truth and your psyche can only handle they've done experiments where they've lied to a bunch of people. I tell the story a lot on my channel, so if you've heard this, apologies, but I'm going to tell it to the people who don't know. But they've done experiments on people where they just continuously lied to them about everything, like a control group of people, and their psyches could not handle it to live in a world without any truth, and they would just die. And so you have to have some truth in order to even exist, even for your psychology to even sustain you. Like it literally, we survive on truth. We live in truth. Our energy is divine. It is in truth. Light is truth. So that's why there's a lot of disclosure in movies, a little bit of truth, but everything else in lies. So kept you in a state of confusion, but just enough truth to keep you alive, moving, and working, right? Okay, 6 of Swords. Okay, going within. There's a lot of new technologies out there about mind control. They have been using mind control technology through a subliminal messaging in movies, in music, in TV shows, in books and magazines, and all this advertising and stuff, right? And it's effective. They've done research on it. They know what works. They've done it on the mass population. They did it on an individual scale. That is a known fact. It's out there. It's just got to do your research. But that they can't stop you from going within. Your inner universe is a reflection of the outer universe. And so if you can if you can control your mind, if you can explore your mind, the deepest, furthest reaches of your mind, you are also exploring the deepest, furthest space out there in the universe. As within, so without. It's if you look at biology and the cells and how they survive, it's very, and the veins, it very much reflects our cities. It very much reflects our us. This one singular cell kind of shows us the biological design of us. So nature kind of tends to have these patterns that show itself over and over again. So if you can understand, to explore within your mind is exploring everything that's out there. It's the same. It's very, so they can't stop you from going within. They can't maybe mess with the external reality, this matrix, here and there. They're losing control of that very quickly as well. We have power over that. We manifest the external reality, but they've been able to manipulate it to favor them. Right? And they're quickly losing that power, but they can't stop us from going within, to making ourselves healthy, to making ourselves not prone to these subliminal messages, these mind control techniques. It's allowing us to take take back our sovereignty and take back our divine power and grow it to a point where this is what light workers and starseeds and way showers, spiritual leaders, warriors do. We grow our divine power and let our light shine so it wakes up the rest of the collective, right? So yeah, they can't stop us from going with them. So yeah, the truth, the floodgates have opened. Pull more card. 9 of Swords, and this card wanted to come up too. 7 of Cups. There's still a lot of confusion tactics out there, even in things that you might think. So even in like natural remedies, there's people who are infiltrated that, you know, the biggest one is the ETs. You know, they control the narrative of that too. That's why there's a lot of internal conflict in that community. It has been for a long time. So if you don't know about it, let me give you the tea. Yeah, there's been a lot of misinformation, a lot of psyops in the ET community for a very long time. People who've been into this for a long time and researching it because they're like, oh, cool, ET. And I'm one of those people. I'm like, yeah, I want to see, like, does God exist? What happens after you die? And do ETs exist? That's been my top 3 questions since I was a kid. No wonder I'm in this field, right? And so that community, there's a lot of, it's been infiltrated a lot to be able to control the narrative or confuse people so they don't know the exact truth, or like, you know, if a lot of people were kind of gaining momentum on some sort of truth, there was some confusion, misinformation thrown in there, so it confused people, it separated people, it caused a lot of internal conflict. So that is happening. I'm getting with like everything that's like natural medicines, ancient or cultural techniques, and just a lot of things. They're also doing that in a lot of these areas as well. So that's still out there. I'm hearing that's still out there. Hills, obstacles to overcome. Yeah, so that's kind of something that we're going to be dealing with in the next, like this year, the next like few years. It's kind of discernment. That's like a huge thing when you start your spiritual journey, is to be able to discern truth, like what's truthful and what's not. And that's like a really hard thing to do, is like kind of using your instinct, your intuition. But that's how you practice and use your intuition and become more psychic and become more connected to your divine aspect, is practicing discernment over and over again. What's real, what's not, what's truth and what's not, and using your like senses to be able to, using your sixth sense. This is the practice. This is how people awaken. All right, so the next question, are old negative energies trying to block or assert whatever remaining power that they have now, whatever they have left now, before new, more divine aligned powers come in? Okay, so are the old energies that are dark or negative trying to block TikTok by using whatever little power that they have left now, before the more divine aligned powers come in? They're trying to block. Yeah. I'm getting, it's like while they're sitting at home. So it's not even those at the top. It's those in their divine powers, these light workers, starseeds, spiritual warriors, spiritual leaders that are already in their power, already in their 5D, that haven't left their home yet, quote unquote. So that haven't exerted their power yet, that haven't started their 5D soul missions, that haven't kind of put their ideas out there and really done something with their newfound divine sovereignty yet. And so it's not because of whatever's going on top. See, it has nothing to do with these leaders and movers and shakers. Like, yeah, they play a great role, but they have a role to play, and they're doing it in a divine way. But it's the power comes from all the people, every single one of us that with a divine soul. And especially because there's so many people who have awakened in the past decade. You know, this is what, the third wave maybe from Dolores Cannon? I don't know. This wave that have awakened in the past decade, they've been kind of growing their power. You saw in the beginning of the reading how TikTok was kind of growing its power. And then once it does that, it can kind of use its force in a major way. That's kind of what the light workers have been doing. They've been kind of growing their power at home. Now, a lot of light workers are not aware how powerful they are because they have been home. Their light has been shielded. I've been talking about this in the past couple of monthly energy forecasts. Their energy has been kind of shielded. So they finished their healing work and their, finding their identity, finding their purpose here in life, with that whole like spiritual journey, this major segment of it. So they finish it. And so a lot of these light workers are not even aware how powerful they have become. And you're going to see it this year, starting this year, going into the next few years with Pluto finally in Aquarius. You're going to see a lot of light workers finally step up to their soul mission, find their purpose, and start executing it. And it's a very beautiful thing. But were they actively trying to block it? They're trying to distract and kind of bring something else in to replace. Oh, yeah. You know what? Actually, I wasn't even going to ask this question, but there were a lot of alternatives that were coming onto the scene as people kind of thought that TikTok was leaving. And so that's a huge... I guess that was like a tactic of romances in the air. Excitement. Trying to kind of lead people to these other TikTok-like apps. Is that like a positive or negative? So what was it like for them? Comfort. Yeah. Okay. So, I kind of got that feeling that they didn't want to let go of, like, when you have power and control over something for such a long time, you don't want to let go of that control and power, especially if you kind of don't have a healthy, way of exerting that power or using that power. And so a lot of people who are pulling the strings with TikTok didn't want to release that level of control that they have. A lot of people at the top with that were given that much power don't want to let it go. But then the people, they're hungry for truth. They weren't hungry for these games. Interesting. What's this? Romance and fire. King Sir. You can't fool people. You can't fool people. Yeah, interestingly enough, people are it's the idea behind it, the amount of information, the amount of ideas and creativity that was shared, the amount of positivity that TikTok was giving people excited. Romance and excitement. I'm getting this kind of age of Aquarius kind of energy. People are kind of getting excited for the potential of our future. And so people were kind of hungry for new ideas, not new applications. So it's the idea behind it, not the actual algorithm, a software, or actual physical app that people are interested in. So it's hard for people to get excited about the tool so much as like what the tool is being used for. I don't know. Is there any significance to that? It doesn't seem. May marriage, interestingly enough. This is not a love reading, obviously. But I do feel like in May. Oh, yeah. Okay. So in my monthly, I kind of mentioned that TikTok is gonna change. I said it wasn't going to it wasn't going to go away, but it's going to change from how we use it from the beginning of the month to the end of the month. And the monthly energies, it usually goes on for a few months. It's not just like just in the month of January, this is what's going to happen. But you can see that around the springtime, you're going to see that the energy of TikTok is just going to completely change from what it was to what it is going into. It's going to be reformed in a way that serves the collective positively. All right, a few more questions here. Okay, so Gen Z is thanking Trump since TikTok directly thanked President Trump, for reinstating TikTok. So that's the energy here. Knight of Pentacles. Is Gen Z thanking Trump since TikTok directly thanked President Trump for reinstating TikTok? Yeah, over the next his President Trump's presidency, the next 4 years, his term, there's going to be more Gen Zs that are going to get on board with President Trump and his agenda, because there's like some positive people who think that's like a very positive thing, people who think that's a very negative thing, depending on what side of the aisle you are on politically. But yeah, there's definitely a reform of major structures going on. And Gen Z's kind of sick of it. They can kind of see what's not working. And over the course of the next, several years, there's going to be more support for, I guess, this new administration. What are people's reaction to that? Are people taking that positively or negatively? Gen Z kind of on board for this new kind of changing the rules here, changing the guidelines for TikTok and the things around social media, or just kind of so social media guidelines, laws, and things like that. There's a lot of energy here. Yeah, I have a feeling I'm going to be doing more readings about this kind of stuff. But Two of Swords, again, like the first card of the energy of TikTok, a lot of things are kind of at a point where it can go this way or that way. And this is why this is a critical time in human history, where it's up to us to decide how we're going to be using this in the future. And it looks like that we're all going to be collectively choosing for it to be used in a more positive way, in a way that serves everyone in the most highest and best way. A journey, either physically or mentally. Yeah, it kind of coincides with the awakening. So internally, people are going to change mentally, their thoughts, their beliefs, refine them, edit them, view them. And this is going to be kind of a conversation that happens with the collective a lot. Okay, last couple of questions here. So how TikTok is affecting small businesses. How is TikTok affecting small businesses? It's helping a lot. It's helping a lot of small businesses, a lot of mom and pop type deals where people are working for themselves, working out of their homes, employing some of their friends and family. It has been very helpful for small businesses. And, after, COVID really took that away from a lot of mom and pop stores, a lot of small businesses. That is like the blood of our country. And so this is quickly able to help a lot of those types of businesses that we want to help, that we want to see good things happen to. That if you're not involved in a small business, on TikTok or Etsy or Instagram or whatever, or some sort of social media, YouTube, then someone who is, guaranteed. So you're close to someone who is. We all know folks. We all know folks whose businesses are affected by social media, but how many people know someone who passed away from that time? Ooh, touchy subject. Let's go move on. All right, so I do see that in terms of small businesses, it's going to allow people to kind of share more of those ideas, get in touch with more people, and it's like you have your own little mini markets. It's not going to always reach everyone, but it's going to reach the people that you want to reach, and that's like so special. The one thing that's like so awesome about TikTok is that you could have like 0 views, 0 subscribers, and you can get your message across. You can get your business plan across. You can market whatever you want. If you have a good message or you have a good product or service, like you can get there even with nothing. And so it's truly remarkable in that way. 2 of Pentacles, again, how this moves forward will be interesting to keep an eye on, because we are the voices that are going to say, like, this is what we want out of this tool. This is what we want. And right now, people want to start their own businesses. They want to continue having a successful business, having these types of resources. So we're gonna have to voice our opinion and say, this is what we want to use this for. Crown, honor or respect will come to you. Pay attention to your health. And so another thing is it's somewhat unhealthy, right? That's the one drawback from TikTok, is that as much as it can be used for a force of positivity, like helping small businesses and sharing really good ideas and techniques and such, there's people who doom scroll. There's people who compare themselves to other people, and it affects their self-image and their way that they view themselves, especially for the younger audiences, right? But in all, for everyone, right? It's hard not to compare yourself to others when you go on these social media pages. So it can be really good for positive growth, for example, in your small business, or to get at good ideas, hear some truth, some insights. But it can be also very negative in affecting people's mental health, and spending money on things that they don't need, doom scrolling and whatnot. So these 2 things will be addressed, specifically how they affect people positively, like small businesses and selling, but doing it in a way that also takes into consideration people's mental health, because that's going to be a huge platform in which I do feel the current presidency will address, is how to reform TikTok and similar social medias to not negatively impact the collective's mental health negatively in such a strong way, but also, and mainly the youths, but also be a way to allow people to advertise for their small businesses and share their creativity, and in a way that doesn't affect their freedom of speech. So these are things that are going to be addressed very much so, and probably sooner than most people think. We saw the May time frame. It could be sooner. All right. So lastly, and this is a very appropriate question because I'm recording this right before the inauguration of President Trump. And I don't care which side you lean on politically, but I'm trying to, I did this reading as unbiased as possible, straight from source energy, straight from my spirit guides and my higher self. Just truth, just divine energies. There's been rumors going on from the other side of the political aisle, or people who are just confused and asking questions, and that's fine. We should ask questions. When TikTok was reinstated recently, within like 24 hours. The lives, people noticed that the lives were gone, the lives feature to go live, and that the TikTok shop posts that will come in between whatever you were scrolling on were limited. And people were asking, is this because of the inauguration? And they didn't want to show the protests that were going on of the inauguration. Is that why things were limited on TikTok? To kind of control the narrative, I guess. You know what? Yeah, this is a very positive force of change happening, and this specific leader was divinely appointed. So anyone who does not see that yet, well, they're starting their spiritual journey. So it's kind of funny because there's a lot of folks who are very spiritual, who are very against this specific administration. But you can't deny President Trump is a lion. He is a true leader. He gets things done. He is not afraid to go after the biggest, baddest wolf, the biggest, baddest enemies. He is a true leader, and we haven't seen that for a very long time. The most powerful in the world. There's one card that kind of rolled off the table, and that if it does that to the far right, it's kind of like this is an energy that's going to go far into the future. Okay, so Sphere, heartache over what you no longer have. So this is a long journey, you know. Pluto's in Aquarius for the next couple of decades, and you're going to see a lot of people kind of misinterpret these energies, and everyone's allowed to have their perspective, and I totally get it. I was definitely on that side, unawakened, not sure about this specific leadership. I totally get it, but after a lot of time of going within, listening to my own truths, doing a lot of research, and using my discernment skills, I have overwhelming joy and optimism and hope for the first time in a long time. I'm celebrating. I'm popping open some champagne in a little bit. There's going to be a lot of people who are going to deal with this heartache over what you no longer have as they start their spiritual journey. But it's slowly for some, but very quickly for a lot of people who are awakening now, going to be joining us in the celebration. And what this momentous time even means, the world card, this is finally us going into the 5D, all this hard work that we put in, we're going to now see it in the external environment. We are here and we're ready to do this. Lightworkers are activated. Time to go. Faith. Oh my gosh, has your faith been tested? For a lot of people, you're going to have this ultimate test of faith right before you step into this, right before this inauguration, before this issue with TikTok going offline, coming back. Just in the weeks prior, my faith was so completely tested to the point where I was freaking out, spiraling, and I never do that. I never have stress anymore because I started a spiritual journey. I take care of my mental health, emotional, spiritual health, physical health. I never had that kind of stress before. I was having flashbacks to when I was 12 years old, asking my parents, does God exist? Didn't get a good enough answer, so I became atheist. I decided to become atheist. 12 years old, decided to become a light worker at 16 because of a book I read by a psychic. And my life completely changed overnight. You know, had very spiritual experiences throughout college, and we see that these were times 2011, 2012, a lot of people awakened. 2017, a lot of people awakened. 2020, during COVID, a lot of people awakened. And you're going to know that you're at the end of this journey, Lightworker. Those of you who are further along their journey, ready to wrap up this old one and start your soul missions, your faith was tested recently. And it was like, I was having flashbacks to when I was like 12, and I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? To like feeling like there's none of this exists? Is it all just physical stuff? And it was so crazy because in the last month, I was kind of looking back at how I can bring in all that spiritual wisdom and use it in the 3D, combine my my spiritual and physical mastery, combine my spiritual mastery into the physical realm, because we are physical beings, you know, in this lifetime. So combining the two, rising above the dualistic way of thinking and living in a unity mindset, in a 5D mindset. My faith was really very much tested, and I'm in that wave of people that awakened and went through a huge spiritual journey, like completely, like every single last detail of my life was worked on and improved, and it's our time. All right, so beautiful light workers, starseeds, spiritual warriors, spiritual leaders, it's time for you to stand up. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day.